Hello, I'm Olly and this is CriminOlly, where I... Hold on, what's that noise? Huh? What the... Ah, that's where I left my copy of The Colour of Her Panties. So if you're wondering what on earth that was all about, this is the announcement video for my reading event, GarbAugust. So GarbAugust is an event that's dedicated to reading trashy books, to reading the kind of books people frown on, the kind of books that, the academics and critics and things like that dismiss, the kind of books that give people pleasure and demand very little. So I'm a huge fan of trashy books. I love men's adventure books. More recently, I've got into reading Harlequin romances. I've always loved like kind of creature feature type books, animal attacks books, things like that. So there's a wealth of different kinds of trashy books out there. There's definitely something for everyone. And GarbAugust as an event is dedicated to championing those kinds of books. My personal view is anything that gets people reading is a good thing. And even if a book is, horrifically trashy, that doesn't matter. What matters is people read and enjoy them. So this is the second year that we've done GarbAugust. We launched it last year and it was a big success. I think everyone who took part had a great time with it. We've got some fun stuff set up for people. So we've got weekly prompts just to steer people a little bit in terms of the kind of things they could be reading. We've also got the return of the GarbAugust Garbingo card, and we're doing a group read as well. So there's lots of stuff for people to get involved in. And if you've got any questions at all about what we mean by trashy books, I have made some videos about it in the past. I'll leave links to those in the description for this video. But if you've got any questions at all, just ask them in the comments, or jump onto my Discord server where there's a dedicated GarbAugust channel where we can chat about what people are going to be reading. So let's talk about those themed weeks then. So we've got kind of either or prompts for these weeks, and what I would say is if you want to follow these weekly prompts, fantastic. If you don't, also fantastic. Just read some trash. Completely up to you. What you want to read in the month. We want the event to be as inclusive as possible. So if you want to follow the weekly prompts, that would be brilliant. But they're there as a guide as to the kind of things you might want to read. So the first week is either category romance or men's adventure. So what do I mean by category romance? I mean kind of Harlequin romances, Mills and Boon, that kind of thing. So here I've got Teaming Up by Abby Gaines, which is a NASCAR romance from Harlequin. Or on the Mills and Boon side, I've got this Mills and Boon medical romance double featuring The Celebrity Doctor's Proposal by Sarah Morgan and A Mother by Nature by Caroline Anderson. Men's Adventure is kind of the male equivalent of the Harlequin romance, so action adventure type stuff. So I've got here Jersey Guns from the Mac Bolan The Executioner series by Don Pendleton, or Doomsday Warrior number 11 American Eden by Ryder Stacey. So books full of violence and action, and personally I always find them very entertaining. Second week, you can go with either Paperbacks from Hell or Vintage Smut. So Paperbacks from Hell, really we're using as a catch-all term for kind of vintage trashy horror. So you could read something from the Grady Hendrix Paperbacks from Hell book. So a number of those have been republished recently by Valancourt. So this is Stage Fright by Garrett Boatman. Or you could just read some old horror. So I've got a couple of Sean Hudson books here. Sean Hudson, one of my favourite horror writers from the 80s. So I've got Breeding Ground, his second book in the Slug series, and Chainsaw Terror, which was published under the pseudonym Nick Blake. Vintage Smut, Could be something like, so, you know, vintage is a bit of a subjective term, isn't it? Really, I think I mean anything from the 80s or before. So you could read, you know, Jackie Collins or something like that. Or you could read something like this, The Bigamist by William Hegner, a novel about the forbidden pleasures of a secret double life. Or if you want to read something, you know, something more recent in the smut line, there's tons of smut on Kindle Unlimited. I dived into that a little while ago, reading a book about a hunky alien who came to Earth and seduced a woman. So yeah, trust me, there's a lot of smut on Kindle Unlimited. The next week then you can read either a novelisation or a book by a famous person. So novelisations are really, you know, they were a huge part of the publishing industry in the 70s and 80s in particular. So, you know, books that were cranked out to cash in on the success of popular movies. So, you know, basically the movie in a novel form. And I used to read loads of those as a teenager. More recently, you tend to quite often get books that are spin-offs from popular movies. So I've got one of those here, Aliens Vasquez by V. Castro, which is a completely original Aliens novel, but, you know, very much set in the universe of the movies. So this is a good bet if you fancy something like that. Novels by famous people. Well, famous people will do anything to cash in on their fame, won't they? I don't have any physical copies to hand, but last year I read The Happy Hooker by Xavier Hollander. So Hollander was a madam in the US who was involved in a high-profile court case and ended up writing a series of books that cashed in on her notoriety. I also read last year Make My Wish Come True by Katie Price. So Katie Price, if you don't know her, was an English topless model who became quite a celebrity and subsequently has cashed in on that by getting someone else to ghostwrite books for her and slapping her name on the front. I would definitely recommend The Happy Hooker over the Katie Price book, but both had their moments. And then the final week, which is really almost 2 weeks just because of the way the weeks fall in August, the final week is Anything Goes, where you can read literally anything you want as long as it's trashy. So as I say, you don't need to stick to those weekly prompts. They're there to guide you and suggest some kinds of trashy books you might want to read. In a similar vein, we've got the return of the GarbAugust Garbingo card, which I will put up on screen for you now. So there are 25 squares on the GarbAugust card this year. I don't expect anyone to be able to tick off all of those squares, although you can of course double dip if you like, so you can use one book to cover multiple squares if appropriate. You will notice at the heart of our GarbAugust card this year is Pax Panic. So Pax, who sadly passed away recently, was one of our hosts last year. She did a fantastic job. Pax was a wonderful booktuber, and GarbAugust this year is dedicated to her memory. So the Pax square on the bingo card, you need to read either a book that Pax read last year for GarbAugust, and we'll put a list of those up in the description for this video, or a book with green on the cover. So a really easy square to tick off your GarbAugust card. So please try and do that in memory of Pax. Some of the other squares, and I will do a dedicated video on the GarbAugust card, but you've also got things like a book with Satanists, a book about conspiracy theory, a dirty book, a sexy vampire book, so all sorts of different things on there. So hopefully something for everyone there. The other thing we're doing to remember Pax is a group read of one of the books she read last year, The Devil's Laughter by William W. Johnston, which Pax had a great time reading. So we are, a lot of the hosts are going to be reading that, and we're all really looking forward to it. So if anybody wants to join in, you are more than welcome to, and there'll be a channel for that on my Discord server as well to discuss that group read. So let's get on to the host then. So before I start, if you have small children in the room, you may want to send them out. If you are easily offended, you may want to stop watching this video now. So anyone who took part in GarbAugust last year or watched any of the videos will know that for GarbAugust, all of the co-hosts adopt trashy names for their channels. So let me go through those now. There are a lot of hosts this year, so there's a lot of trashy names for me to read out. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to get through all of them without laughing heavily, so we'll see how I get on. This kind of thing really does appeal to my puerile teenage sense of humour. What I would say as well is, so last year we called the host the Dirty Dozen. We've got more than a dozen hosts this year, so we've got a new name. We are the GarbAugust Allied Group, or GAG for short. So let me go through these. I'll start with the hosts who are returning from last year. So you've got myself, CriminOlly, or for GarbAugust, Screaming Olly. You've got Steve Donohue, who becomes Steve Donohue. You've got Michael K. Vaughan, or Michael K. Porn, as he's known during GarbAugust. You've got Shelly Swearingen, or Shall We Swing Again, as she will be for this month. You've got Andrew from It Came From The Page, or for August, It Came All Over The Page. You've got Crystal from the channel Fiberartsy, who becomes Fibertarty. And you've got Greg from another Bibliophile Reads, who becomes another Boobiephile Reads Playboy for the articles. So those are the returning hosts. Let's move on to the new hosts. So you've got Roy from the channel Roy Reads Anything, who becomes Roy Reads Anything, wink. You've got Kelsey from Slime and Slashes, whose channel name for August will be Slimy Splashes. You've got Michelle from Michelle's Melancholia, or Michelle's Melons Collier. You've got Dave and Olive from Book Blather, or for August, Boob Lather. You've got MJ from the channel Reading This Life, or for GarbAugust, Sleazing This Life. You've got Kelly Hooked on Books, or for August, Kelly Hooked on Dino Smut. You've got Anne Novella, or Anne Pupella, as she becomes for August. You've got Nick from the channel, another BookTube channel. So I would say Andrew from It Came From The Page is not a big fan of his GarbAugust name. And Nick from another BookTube channel is not a big fan of his GarbAugust name either. But both of them are great sports and agreed to adopt these names. So Nick's channel will be another butt plug canal. You've also got Sarah from The Bookish Knitter, or The Bondage Knitter. You've got Courtney from Tangible Reads, or as she becomes in August, Touchable Reads and Deeds. You've got Alex from Alex. Sorry. You've got Alex from Alex Unabridged, or as he is in August, Alex Under a Bridge. You've got another Alex the Bookubus, who becomes Alex the Boob Anus. You've got you've got Celeste from Bookbound Wield. You've got Celeste from Bookbound Weirdo, or Bookbound Dildo. You've got Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic, or Boobs, Dogs and Other Magic. You've got Katrina Brown, or Cabona Grown, she becomes for August. And you've got Sam from Super Blumper, who is now Super Blower. Okay, so apologies for all of that. I've managed to collect myself again. Right, so that's it really. So as I say, there will be some links in the description for this video to videos about trashy books and other sources you might find interesting. We've got the GarbAugust bingo card, and I will be doing a separate video talking about all of the prompts in that and giving suggestions for books you might want to read. So look out for that in the next couple of weeks or so. All of the co-hosts will be doing videos again in the next few weeks, so look out for those. I'll link to all of the co-hosts in the description for the video. And Kelsey from Slime and Slashers, or Slimy Splashers, has done some fantastic printable artwork as well that people can print out and use for GarbAugust. So kind of like logos and things like that, as well as the bingo card. So all of that stuff will be hosted on my Discord server should people want to access it. I'll make sure I leave a link to the Discord server in the description for the video as well. But if you've got any questions at all about GarbAugust, do please ask in the comments, or jump on the Discord and ask in the channel there. Hopefully we'll have loads of people taking part this year, and hopefully it will be as much fun as it was last year. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading trashy stuff. and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.